Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We've got the full crew back once again. The Punt Intended Pod, joined by Jared and Brett.
Hey.
All right. What a week it was in week 6. Brett and I took on a duo show last week. Jared was on waiting for baby duty.
Indeed.
Brett and I both went 8-7 in picks last week. I missed Eagles. We both missed Eagles, Cowboys, Lions, Bills, Commanders. I missed Browns, Titans in addition to those, and Brett missed Saints, Jaguars. So good even week for us. A couple different picks there, but we got our week 7 preview, and I'm gonna kick it over to Brett, who's got our news.
Yeah, so we kind of just have two news this week. The main one being the Titans firing their head coach, Brian Callahan. Obviously, Titans are not doing what they need to be doing with their 101 Cam Ward. I don't know. I think it was obvious it was going to happen eventually, but it does suck that you go 101, but you really don't have anyone to help him. And then you pay the price for it.
Yeah.
But that is how the NFL works now. If you don't do good, you're fired. So then the other news is Rashee Rice is back. Coming back at a good time. The Chiefs offense seems to be taking off, which it hasn't been for a few years now. They've kind of only won by I don't know, 3 to 10 points. Or no, one score games was like most of their wins last year.
Yeah, and defense first.
So yeah. Rashee Rice coming back into a good timing at in the Chiefs locker room. So
Indeed.
See what that.
I am personally a huge fan of Rashee Rice on the football field. Would hate to see him on a highway, but anyway, we're gonna move right on. We got bye weeks this week. We have the Bills and Ravens. We also have two teams returning from bye. That would be the Texans and oh boy, can somebody help me?
Vikings.
Yes, Texans and Vikings coming back from the bye. Thank you, Brett. And now, since he's back this week, we do have our licensed medical professional with our injuries.
Yes, we do. Yep. So back after a much exhausting baby being here and newborn, so that's all fun. But yeah, injury wise, Puka Nakua, obviously a huge injury, high ankle sprain. Those will get you every day. He'll be out for a while. It'll be interesting to see. He's not on IR, but sometimes I feel like when you high ankle sprain, you're out for 4 weeks anyways.
When you high ankle sprain.
Inevitable.
Yeah, but it happens to you. You got to get that medical lingo down, guys. But Garrett Wilson as well. He hyperextended his knee per reports. I actually have a theory that he's making this one up. The Jets are 0-6, and he just didn't want to play anymore. So he definitely faked this injury.
When you were talking about that pre-show, I didn't think you were being serious, but this is actually a genuine theory you have.
Yep, I think Garrett Wilson faked that injury. Yeah, I don't know how he faked the MRI though. There was an MRI done, but I don't know. He's gotten really good at faking things. Anyways, Anthony Richardson, not in practice or no, not in a game, but pre-game warm-up, fractured his orbital, which is
face.
Hold on, Jared. This is right up your alley.
That is true.
I hate to put you on the spot like this, but you work at an eye doctor. Can you describe what the orbital is?
Around his eye.
Okay.
I believe it's the orbital. Although, technically, I know about eye anatomy, and I don't remember that being on any eye anatomy, so I know it has to be around the eye. That's my fan theory.
Good
Job. Yeah. He's on IR, though.
Stretch bands.
With the stretch bands, which is insane.
Crazy.
This reminds me of like whenever you're younger, you're like at church camp or something, and you're whipping people with towels. Like, just did something like that and you just broke it. I didn't even know you could break your eye. But
Yeah,
that's
apparently.
crazy.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
but
not
he's on IR, so he'll be
medical
out for a little bit.
licensed.
Doesn't really matter because he's not playing anyways, but it's news that's on there. Emeka Big had a hamstring injury, likely to
Big Boo.
miss this. Yeah, Big Boo is likely to miss this week. So whenever he comes back, I'm sure he'll be doing great, and people still won't be able to pronounce his name. So
By the way,
uh,
with that one, week 9 bye, so he might miss 2 weeks, or he might
ooh,
be back next week. We'll see. I personally hope they hold him out next week. Also, just give him 3 weeks to rest up, come back.
that kind of cooks his ability to win the receiving title, though.
Yeah, and rookie of the year, but I have a personal agenda to push. So
I see. You want him to miss as much time as possible. Mike Evans, returning to practice, might be good to go for this game. I think he probably will miss again too. Although they are hurting at wide receiver, so there's a chance they try to push him onto the field.
literally,
Yeah, they got nowhere left. Terry McLaurin also returning to practice. Two older guys in Mike Evans and Terry, so you never know with those people. Sometimes they hold them out, sometimes they'll put them back in. I think Terry's more likely to come back than Mike Evans, but because I just feel like I don't know, the Commanders just seem like they need to win games more than the Bucks do. The Bucks could afford to lose a game.
indeed.
Um,
Similar situations, though, for sure.
yes, for sure. But yeah, that's all the injuries for this week, unless we missed any other important ones.
We probably
Um,
did, but that's okay.
right,
Um,
Cardinals running backs, whoever's starting this week will be injured next week, so we can predict that one.
by the way,
Um,
it was 2 weeks ago, but I can confirm J.K. Dobbins is healthy.
he is healthy. He's doing
So
great.
now that I
was wrong.
said that, I'm scared. But Jared mentioned at the end of the injuries. Speaking of being able to afford to lose a game, Jared, this Thursday
Yeah,
night
so
game.
let's kick it off with the Thursday night game. We have Steelers Bengals. Obviously the Bengals just got via the Browns. Thank you very much, Browns. You know that's what we all needed in the AFC North. They got Joe Flacco, or Joe Montana, as we call him when he plays the Steelers. So it's a combination of that and just the Steelers do tend to drop games where like on paper, this should be an pretty easy win. I actually think the Bengals are going to win this game. I don't think it'll be like a blowout or anything, but I think something weird's going to happen, and the Bengals will win. I mean, they have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and a guy who can throw the ball. Now, it didn't work out for him last week, so maybe it won't work out again this week. I don't think the Packers are that great of a team, but they also did some stuff against the Packers. So we'll see what happens. But I actually think, as much as I would love the Steelers to win another game and put themselves in the lead even more in the AFC North, this kind of seems like a game we'll lose.
They don't really need any more wins in the AFC North, though. Let's be honest. Like they already have what, like a 4-game division lead already.
Yeah.
Well, we've went undefeated all the way to the end too, and almost missed the playoffs. So we need as many wins as we can get.
That is true.
So I disagree with Jared. I'm
As
picking
do
the
I.
Steelers. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Dale's also picking the Steelers
Which is crazy.
in this game. I think he's doing the reverse psychology though, but I think the Steelers. I think they'll show up defensively. Last week they really didn't do anything defensively. The Browns just did everything for them by not completing passes.
Oh my gosh!
But I think Steelers are going to win this one. We'll send it on that.
We'll get there later.
Go ahead, Dale. What do you got for this one?
We've got another London game. Don't you guys love morning football on Sunday mornings?
London.
It is actually it is fun, but not when you miss like half the game because it's Sunday mornings and yeah. So we've got the Rams and Jaguars going overseas. We are shipping the Puka Less Rams to go face Trevor Lawrence in London. Hilarious. and Trevor Bank overseas. Brett, I'm sure you'll make a joke. Sorry to take it from you, but Trevor Bank got robbed last week, and unfortunately, the Rams are going to rob him again.
Rob him again.
The thing is that you have to think about is that every bank is heistable, and last week was just that week. Now we're going overseas. We're taking it into London. So I think Trevor takes his bank on the road and takes out the Rams in the Puka-less Rams.
Yeah,
over in London.
I would agree. I'm a big Trevor believer, as everybody knows, and he's never made me mad once. So he'll continue that streak, and he'll win this game.
Speaking of quarterbacks never making us mad, we've got Caleb Williams and the Bears taking on Spencer Rattler and the Saints. Both of these quarterbacks, as we know, never disappointing, never letting anyone down, especially people that play fantasy. But Bears are at home, favored by only 4.5. That's kind of a low line. The Bears are kind of hot. They've won 2 in a row. They just beat the Commanders. It was a pretty big upset for them.
Kind of a good game too.
We all have the Bears winning this game. Do you guys think the Bears cover the spread?
I think they will. The Saints, I feel like, are pretty mid, to say the least.
The Saints do play really hard though. Like they seem to always at least compete.
Yeah, that is true.
Alvin Kamara plays really hard.
Well, Rattlers had some good games for them too. Like they're not like the Browns. The Browns have a great defense, but some of these games they just get blown out because their offense is so bad. Like the Saints keep them close at least, but I also think the Bears cover the spread. What else I think happens is I think the Dolphins go on the road to Cleveland and take down the Cleveland Browns. At this point, I have totally flipped the page to 2026. I want the Browns to complete the tank, get Shedeur some reps. Dylan Gabriel, get off of my team, please. That might have been the worst quarterback performance I've ever seen. I mentioned it after his first start. He missed a lot of throws, but he got away with it because he didn't turn the ball over and we won the game. Or not, we didn't win the game, sorry. But it looked like it wasn't his fault that we lost to the Vikings. But after that game against the Steelers, I'm completely out. Like, again, just missing easy throws all over the place. There's a really funny video on Twitter of someone talking about the worst throws in the NFL. It was the 5 worst throws. And it's just, he goes, honorable mention, Dylan Gabriel. Honorable mention, Dylan Gabriel. Honorable mention, Dylan Gabriel. And then the top 5 is all Dylan Gabriel clips. And they're all nasty throws. Yeah. Anyway, regardless, I have the Dolphins going on the road, beating my Browns. And, I'm happy for it.
Yeah, I think the Browns will definitely lose this game to the Dolphins. Like you said, Dylan looked pretty rough last week, and he didn't have turnovers, but he totally could have. He had 2 balls
that were straight up
dropped by defenders.
He might as well have had turnovers.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I disagree with you both. I think the Browns win this game. I think as the weather gets colder and the Dolphins have to travel north, Tua is very famous for losing
Tua turned the ball over.
Cold. Yeah. And I think QJ gets back released on the Dolphins defense, and I think he wins it for him.
Quinshon Judkins. I forgot you called Judkins QJ. I'm over here thinking about Quentin Johnston. I'm like, huh?
When Quentin's relevant, I'll say QJ for him.
Well, speaking of relevant, Jared.
Yes, the most relevant team in football. By the way, is that actually the line for this game?
It is. It is actually the line for this game. Let me verify because I may have misread it, but I believe that is the actual
line. Anyways, next game, Raiders-Chiefs. We are all in agreement here. It looks like we all have the Chiefs winning. The line that's on my screen right now that we are getting independently
that line is accurate. That is actually the line.
The actual line for this game is -12.5.
That's crazy.
Which I think the Chiefs will win this game. But considering how bad they looked to start the year at times, that's kind of a crazy line. And I don't think the Raiders are good at football.
I I think they win this game by that. I think they cover that spread too.
I don't know. They definitely could, but that's a heavy line for a team that's just starting to put things together in the Chiefs. But yeah, I think the Chiefs will win this game. I don't think the Raiders. They're kind
It's
of
arrowhead
already.
too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it does feel like the Raiders have kind of already chalked up the season a little bit, and
You'll get a quarterback,
yeah,
Raiders.
yeah, go get a
Have
quarterback.
one.
Are they
He's their
paying
second.
Gino?
What?
Are they paying Gino a lot right now?
Yes, they are paying Gino a lot because they traded for him, and I think they did extend it when they traded for him. I don't know
I
exactly
thought
what his
Seahawks
contract
maybe
looks
had him
like.
under contract, and then
Yeah, well, while me and Brett talk about that next game, you can look up Gino's contract. We've got the Eagles -1.5 going to Minnesota to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, I personally have the Eagles winning this game. It's been ugly at times for the Eagles offense this year, but I think they'll be able to get back to Eagles football, which is winning close and ugly against the Vikings, especially if JJ McCarthy's starting. If Wentz is starting, we might have a little bit of a revenge game here, but I still lean Eagles here. Brett?
Yeah, Jared and I both have the Vikings for this matchup. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. The Vikings have the weapons on offense. They just need a quarterback to hit those weapons. I think once they figure it out, they'll be fine. And it like going against the Eagles is never the easiest thing because they do like to find ways to win. But I just think the Vikings have a better path to winning and being more consistently good. So
yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. On the Gino contract, he's currently on a 2-year, $75 million deal.
holy,
So
He's getting
they have a
cut.
potential. They have a potential out after 2026. Because 2027 would pay him an additional $39
Oh, it's
million.
a team option for 27, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you're right. They're probably gonna
Cut
cut him.
candidate for sure.
Yeah.
say bring in
Although
Pickett,
his cap hit this was 40 mil.
That's
bring
a
in a Super Bowl
huge cap
champion.
hit, actually. He's just going to be the backup to the rookie they draft, probably.
Yeah, cap hit next year's only 26.5. It's all front loaded
Crazy.
cap hit wise. But yeah, no, for sure. That's
Speaking of bad quarterback play, Jared.
yeah, bad quarterback play. Let's get to it. The next game we have Panthers Jets, two bad quarterbacks. But the one has the advantage of having a good running back.
True.
And that's not the Jets. So
No,
I
it's
think the
not.
Panthers win this game. I don't think Brees Hall is that terrible, but he hasn't looked
he's
that
no
great.
Rico Dowdle, that's for sure.
No, Rico Dowdle is the second coming of, I think, I don't know.
Who's a
I'm
good
trying to think who
comp?
I compare
Jerome Bettis?
I don't think Jerome Bettis is quite the comp for Rico Dowdle.
No,
But
he's
yeah,
not.
this guy spent 3 or 4 years at Cowboys. How long was he there? 3 years at
Yeah.
least.
He was there for quite
Being
a few
irrelevant.
years. Yeah. And he had 1,000
And
yards
now,
last year, and they cut him.
yeah, and now he looks like he could be, I don't know, a serious running back. I thought 1 week was a fluke. Week 2 could be a fluke too. If he does it 3 weeks in a row, I think we have to crown him
Well,
the best running back in football.
I to add some context, Chuba has been out the last 2 weeks of the Panthers. He's expected to return this week, and to double that up, last week was a revenge game for Chuba. They were playing the Cowboys. So, like,
Yeah.
easy to get
Yeah.
really amped up for him for that. Like, a lot of revenge game narratives I feel like are overplayed, but that one is 100% true. He just had a career year with them last year, and they cut him this offseason. Like,
Yeah.
anyway. But yeah, we all
For
have
sure.
the Panthers in that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
This next one, personal victory lap. Drake May looking amazing last week against the lowly Saints. But we
wow,
love to
two
see
terrible
it.
teams back to back.
and now he goes on the road again to take on the Tennessee Titans. We could see another huge Drake May game if that Patriots run game continues to be bad. Um, I don't know if you guys saw the stat lines from the running backs last week for the Patriots, but Ramondre Stevenson had 12 carries for 19 yards. And there was a Mike Vrabel quote this week about how being concerned with fumbles is limiting the run game. So I'm not sure what he's watching, but I don't think the guy that's fumbling and running for 1.5 yards a carry is the answer to your run game problems you're having. But you might want to check the film, bud.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna move from a sour note where I trash Mike Vrabel. We all have the Patriots winning that game, by the way, just to clean
Yes.
that up.
Yeah.
We're gonna, speaking of watching the film, we're gonna watch the film of the Frat Bros because Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart, who both looked like they were playing with concussions last week. I mean, these guys are on some smelling salts, man. That was wild. I said earlier I have a personal narrative to push. That narrative is Jackson Dart Rookie of the Year. I threw a bet on that before he was named the starter for the Giants. I think it was after week 1. And now he is currently the odds-on favorite for Rookie of the Year with Ibuka being out for this week and maybe more. But I have the Giants going on the road in Denver and upsetting the Broncos, who looked very lackluster last week against the Jets, and they only beat them
Sure did.
because, well, they was the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree. I think the Giants will win that game. Like you said, they didn't look good against the Jets, and the Giants they had heat.
Broncos are favored by 7.5, so that's a pretty large upset pick.
It would be.
I want to say that the game was kind of the Broncos went in not really thinking they're playing a football team, so they just kind of took it easy.
Could be.
Yeah. I think this week they're going to realize that they can't coast, which again, this would probably be another week that I would say they could coast. But I think they're just going to turn up the heat this week. And, even though they barely won, they did put up, what was it, 8, 9 sacks?
9.
On Fields. So I think Dart's going to get some pressure. I get a little flustered, and we'll see how he deals with pressure. I have the Broncos winning that game. And then moving on to the next game, I have the Chargers versus the Colts. I'm expecting an Indiana Jones downfall at one point. I've even before the podcast said that one of these days he's going to be 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Returning to old Daniel Jones. So yeah, I have the Chargers winning this game. They're only favored by 1.5, so it really is kind of a toss-up between these two teams. But obviously, you two don't agree with me.
Yeah, I don't know. The Colts have just been too hot. I've bet against them, I think, twice already out of the pick'ems and been wrong. I just have to decide that the Colts are real and JT's great and Danny Dimes is
Legit.
Danny Dimes. And yeah, I think the Colts are for legit at this point.
My main concern here is that Chargers O-line is very banged up and looking very poor. That's mostly the reason why I go Colts here, but
Yep. Yeah, but I think the Colts will take home this one. And then our next game is Cardinals Packers. This one is a little surprising considering I don't like I was saying kind of pregame or pre-show. I don't think the Packers are that great. I know people kind of talked them up as a
neither
great
are the
football
Cardinals.
team. That's true. Neither are the Cardinals. That is fair. But I just feel like this is a game where the Cardinals are going to be able to kind of play with house money. People have already kind of abandoned ship on them, I feel like. I think they're dead last in their division, but their division is tough. Yeah, because they have San Fran, Seahawks, and Rams. So yeah, they're definitely dead last. And I think the Packers are probably not as good as people think they are. They're a lot more mid than we were hoping. They still don't have any wide receivers that scare me, even with drafting Golden. And I think with that and a combination of the Cardinals kind of just playing with house money, I think the Cards will win this game.
Yeah. So you guys have the Cardinals win this game. I have the
Hold on.
Packers. What?
I wouldn't necessarily say I have the Cardinals, but I'll get into that after we hear your analysis.
Yeah, you do have like a
A
ultimatum
stipulation.
slash
A
asterisk.
stipulation.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the Packers. I just think the Cardinals are getting worse and worse as the season goes on. Um, the Packers, yes, they are kind of flopping from what they actually started off looking like. But I do think that the Packers just have a better overall team than the
Yeah.
Cardinals in this game.
I would agree. The Packers do have a better overall team, unless Jacoby Brissett is the starter for the Cardinals. In that case, the Cardinals would have the best wide receiver, the best tight end, the better quarterback, and I'd pick the Cardinals to win that game if Brissett's the starter. But like I said, that's the stipulation because we expect Kyler to play. So in that case, I would go Packers. Anyway, moving on to our next game. These two guys I feel like are very similar, especially in the fantasy community. For years, they've always been kind of undervalued for their actual fantasy production because you hate watching them play football because they're usually worse to watch play than what their fantasy numbers are at the end of the game. So I'm talking about Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray, of course. We've got the Cowboys taking on the Commanders in Dallas. The Commanders are 1.5 point road favorites here. I do have the Cowboys winning this game. They've been one of the more surprising teams, I'd say, this season, and it's been almost all on their offense. It wasn't in the injuries, but CeeDee Lamb could be coming back this week. It's still early in the week, so they're a little unsure, but Thursday, Friday is when we'll know some more information, so keep an eye on that. But I do have the Cowboys defending home field and beating the Commanders.
Yeah, and Jared and I both have the Commanders. My reasoning behind it is the Cowboys are basically a coin flip. If they want to play or they don't want to play. I think
Their
Jaden
defense never
Daniels.
does.
Their defense never plays, which is why I have.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels always comes to play. So when he's starting, there's always that try. Whereas, like I said, the Cowboys, Dak can either be great or he can really, really, really be not great. So yeah, I have the Commanders for that reason.
Wow. Speaking of upsets, the Commanders got upset, of course, by the Bears, but the Falcons destroyed the Bills. Well, the scoreboard didn't look like that, but they jumped out to a 21-7 lead. Were really just a decision by a player away from being up 28-7 at halftime in that game. If Drake London actually commits to a dive instead of letting the defender hit him, and he probably scores that touchdown to put him up 28-7, but they did hang on to win that game 21-7. They got shut out in the second half. Sorry, it was 24-14 was the final. Yes, that's what it was. Sorry. But Drake London, Bijan Robinson, that was about it. I think everybody else on the Falcons just sat on the bench, actually.
Pitts had one catch that was neat.
You're right. Pitts had 3 catches on the night. London was the only Falcons wide receiver with a catch in that game, which is kind of crazy. But he did have 10 of them. So, yeah, I do have the Falcons going on the road to beat the Niners, who are favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I don't think the Falcons are that great. I think the Bills are that bad. And I'm also a little salty because Penix actually busted one of my parlays this week by going over on his yardage at the end because he was actually on par to go under, and then he threw some stupid deep ball and cooked me at the end. Jaden Daniels also cooked me, though, by the way, with a rush at the end of that game that was a meaningless rush, which it'll be like 5 seconds. why with these running quarterbacks, if they scramble, it doesn't count for negative rushing yards, but if they if they get any positive yards, so you should always take the over because they can't get negative rushing yards
By the way,
ever.
that's
But
the
running back
thing.
can.
That's the thing about NFL's stat tracking is sacks don't count against quarterback rush yards. In college, they do, but in the NFL, if you're tackled behind the line, it's just a sack. It doesn't. It comes off the team passing yards, not the player's rushing yards. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you've noticed, but Prize Picks has been running a Jordan Love special every week. It's like 6.5 rushing yards, and the fantasy footballers have been hitting that every week in their parlay segment, and it's just been like a free line for them. But that is a interesting
Yeah.
nugget there, Jared.
But I was mad because he got the rushing yards that broke my because I took his under on his yards.
Mhm.
It broke it, and then he took like an 8-yard sack after scrambling to the left, and I'm like, that should count for -8 rushing yards. It did not. Anyways, I got the Niners in this game. I don't think the Falcons are necessarily terrible at football. The Niners just seem to win games, though. It doesn't really matter
Sure.
who's out there, what they're doing. Um, Ayuk is not back this week. I heard there's
No.
rumors he might be practicing soon. I was about to cut him off one of my rosters, um, but
Is
then
Kittle back?
Kittle should be
Kittle
back this
should be
week.
back, so
So it'll
that'll
be a
be
Kittle
big
game.
for them. Yeah, hopefully Kittle game. But yeah, I actually have the Niners to win this game against the Falcons, which takes us right into our next game. Let's see who we got. Got Bucks Lions. Bucks have been extremely entertaining. Um, but I think the Lions, after kind of not getting
Are
embarrassed but losing badly,
are the Bucks
will come
entertaining
out.
because they keep winning games, or are they entertaining because they've got Walmart grocery employees catching passes?
They're entertaining because they keep winning games, and then I just also feel like the way that Baker plays football is fun to watch.
That's true.
Regardless of what you think of Baker, he's just kind of
He,
fun to watch.
him, and Jackson Dart have that same kind of energy.
Yeah,
It's
that
just like
moxie, as they like to call it.
this super arrogant quarterback that Anyway,
Yeah, for sure. But I got Lions to win this game. I think they're well coached. They're a good football team, and after losing a tough game last week, they're gonna put the beat down on the Bucks. The Bucks are gonna look the worst they've looked all year, um, and their wide receiver is out. Right, the Bucks star Ohio State guy.
Abuka is currently set as questionable, but not expected to play.
Yeah,
And
so I took
Evans
the
might be
Lions.
back though.
Hmm. No, I disagree with you both. I think this game, uh, in order for the Bucks to stay in or on pace with the Lions, they need to score a lot, and it's kind of a prediction to my bold take at a later time. I have the Bucks winning this game. I have Baker doing Baker things without his main receiving core.
Baker,
Um,
touchdown maker.
yeah, because both MVPs on the year are on the Bucks, including Tez Johnson. I don't know if any of you guys saw that
I did
clip
see that clip.
where the
It
reporter
was crazy.
was talking to him, and he thought after he caught the touchdown, they were chanting MVP, and he thought that they were talking about him, and the reporter's like, "No, it's Baker."
It was his teammate. It was actually Sterling Shepard that came over to him during the game and was like,
Oh
"No,
yeah,
that was for Baker." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, that makes
oh yeah,
sense."
that makes sense. Yeah,
It's just like, bro. It was an amazing catch, though. To be fair,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, I still have the Bucks. I don't think Bucky's back either,
no.
which makes it tough. But I think Baker just carries them to victory. I think the Lions choke again this week.
Mm.
Crazy.
Yeah, so nothing better when we talk about choking than this next team. The Seahawks. I think they're going to choke away this game versus the Texans. Um, the Texans haven't looked great other than beating the Ravens, which isn't great because the Ravens are kind of terrible at football too. But I have some faith in this team to turn it around against a team that we think is great, but has questionable pieces all over. They have this guy. What is his name? Emeka Big I think his name is.
What?
Oh wait, wrong team, wrong team.
You just wanted
He's
to say
talking
it
about
again.
Ohio
Jackson
State.
Smith
Jackson
and
Smith
Jigba.
in Jigba. Yes, that's how you
He
pronounce it.
confused one great Ohio State wide receiver for another. It's easy. It's forgivable.
Don't know who that guy is. Is he like maybe leading the league in receiving yards? Maybe,
He might
but
be.
never heard of him. Never heard of him. They have Sam Darnold, which obviously terrible quarterback because his name's Sam
The
Darnold.
Panthers thought so.
So did the Jets. And
Well, he was
Texans,
seeing the ghosts in New York, so
the Texans are great at football, so I think the Texans will win this game. This is arguably, in my opinion, my biggest upset, but on the numbers, it wouldn't say it is.
no, it's definitely not your biggest upset. You have a 7.5 point team winning, so
I do indeed.
as do I.
I do indeed.
Now, I will say this: like, remember a few weeks ago we had the Bucks and the Seahawks, and we had two Ohio State guys that were prominent wide receivers going at each other, just trading blow for blow. Ibuka and JSN both had huge games that week, which was really fun. I have something similar happening here. I do see this game opening up a little bit and probably being like a 28-31 type of game. But also, this double Monday night thing where we have one starting at 10 p.m.
Oh my God,
is so bad. Although I have off work on Tuesday, so I can stay up for all of both games, so that's fun. But I'm so excited for this Monday night game to end fantasy weeks this week because I've got a lot of CJ Stroud, a lot of Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I'm
at 1 a.m.
I'm gonna have a lot of comeback wins on Monday Night Football that ends at 1 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. And I do have the Seahawks defending home field advantage, which I actually kind of want to flip my pick to the Texans because the Seahawks are at home. Because under this head coach, they have been terrible at home, which doesn't make any sense. Like, they're a better road team than they are at home. But I will stick it with the Seahawks.
Now, the Seahawks are coming off a 7-sack game.
That's crazy.
And are pretty consistently putting up sacks. And
well, they won't be able to sack the Texans quarterback, right? The Texans line.
I feel like
great line.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Stroud will be feeling the sacks again this week.
Well, what do you mean by that?
For sure.
All right, so Jared wasn't here last week, but just to quickly recap, Brett and I had a week to forget with our Week 6 hot takes. I thought the Browns coaching staff would be intelligent and feed Quinshon Judkins to give ourselves a chance to beat the Steelers. No, instead we let our rookie quarterback go in there and sling the ball to different zip codes than the wide receivers.
52 times, by the way, if you don't know the number. 52
passes. What did he complete? 20 of them? That's what it felt like.
Anyway. 24 or something like that. I'm looking up.
That's crazy. But Quinshon Judkins only got 12 carries, only 36 yards. Day to forget. I had him going for 202. So I just want to forget about that. Brett probably also wants to forget about his.
Nah, he went for 29.
That was a third of the way there. So last week I had Taysom Hill going for the hat trick, rushing, receiving, and passing touchdown. He ended with 1 carry, 1 yard, but a touchdown. So I was a third of the way there.
Yeah.
Third of the way there.
I think that's a hit.
As a QB, though, that's technically he's a passer, but he rushed.
That's such a stretch.
So is it more like 66%?
And he received the snap, am I right?
He did receive it from the kicker.
I think he got it all. I think he nailed it. Well, you went from predicting 3 touchdowns to this week you're predicting just touchdowns again without yardage. So what do you got?
Yeah, so going from all touchdowns from 1 week to all touchdowns this week, and kind of piggybacking off of my Lions-Bucks games, I have Baker throwing 5 touchdowns. Not even necessarily throwing. I guess in general, getting 5 touchdowns rushing.
Just to quickly, this is crazy. If the Monday night games go how you and I are projecting it, this could be a Monday night fantasy week of all time. Like, if we're really projecting 2 high-scoring games, there's gonna be a lot of things going on Monday night across fantasy matchups, and Jared would seem to agree with that.
Yes, I would. Late game, like you said, but I think we'll have some insane scores. I definitely agree. I think that Texans Seahawks game is going to get out of hand, and the one who's going to help do it is Nico Collins. I think I maybe tried to call his name once before on having a big game. Not a huge Nico fan in general, but I'm starting to see the light side. Um, and he hasn't had any crazy games this week or this year, I should say. But I think this might be his first one. I think Nico Collins will go for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns to beat the Seahawks and make the upset on that game.
We love predicting our receivers here. This is Nico's second time being in the show doc in the last 3 weeks. I've had predicted for a big game against the Ravens, which it worked for the Texans offense. It didn't work out for Nico.
No,
But
it did not.
this week, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Rashee Rice is back from his torn ACL and 6-game suspension. There's a report from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN that the basically saying the Chiefs are not going to hold back a workload for Rashee Rice. They're going to have him be full go this week. And a reporter asked Andy Reid about that report, and he basically said, ask Jeremy Fowler about the plan for Rashee Rice. So, I mean, this seems good for Rashee Rice, and I'm going all in. I love the player. I have him going for 175 and 2 this week, and being a large part of the reason why the Chiefs cover that 12.5 point spread, which I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I thought that was outrageous, but it makes sense. I mean, the Chiefs do look good. They're getting Rice back. That offense could be unstoppable moving forward.
Yeah. My only caveat to that pick is I think Rashee Rice will go for more like 119 because that seems to be his favorite number.